Good morning, everyone, and thank you. It's really exciting for me to host this panel about a topic which I think is being talked about a lot. And, if I can, I think probably everybody in the room, about a year and a half, almost 2 years back, Sam Altman had come to India and, he had been asked a question by Rajan Anandan saying that, can Indian IT really compete with what's happening in the US? And, he had said, you can try, but I don't think there's any point to doing that. And I think a few hours later, at the ICT Awards hosted in 2023, CP Gurnani, sort of ended up tweeting and saying, challenge accepted, right? So given that we are, really fueling software development for the world, I think the question of where do we stand on where do we stand on AI and, how are we going to compete, I think becomes very, very relevant, right? And the way I'd like to open the panel for all of you is ask a question which is, what is the biggest challenge that Indian IT companies face when it comes to AI? And Niraj, perhaps you can get us started.
Hello. Okay, so the pace of AI, we have to, one thing, what I think is that the AI came very rapidly, and what Indian IT has to do is match the pace with AI revolution, what is happening all across. In that respect, I see that many companies are already preparing. Our education system is already preparing. Our government is already preparing for that. In fact, they started quite early. In 2018 itself, they have created some kind of AI roadmap. So in that journey, everyone is preparing. Even the resources, the IT professional, they have to start. They have to re-skill themselves to cope up this journey. But there are that demand from the market. For all of us, for all of the companies to that transform ourselves to the cope up this need, the requirement.
Okay. Faizul, over to you.
Yeah, good morning, everyone, and thanks, Dhaval. I think it's a very critical juncture where all of us from enterprises, we stand. From AI revolution to adoption, I think every organization almost has a starting line, but the organizations who are moving fast pace are basically making transitions for themselves as well as for their customers. So what I see as challenges today for organizations and enterprises to kind of do business transformation is there are three basic things I would want to highlight right now. One is customer expectation in terms of services with AI. Everybody talks about AI. So when we go to market for services, customers and clients are wanting us to kind of bring AI-based solutions for agility, speed, scalability, and obviously there are revenue margins as well. The second piece is security on top of AI. Again, it goes without saying, data and the use of AI is going to change the way they look at their outcomes for business. And the last piece is, from a challenge perspective, is talent. Mr. Jaspreet highlighted in the earlier keynote, I think talent is a big element for organizations, enterprises to adopt AI and kind of put that in market for business use.
Yeah, Baidyanath?
Yeah, I think this is very pertinent topic of discussion in modern context, and coming from manufacturing sector, if you see, with the advent of Industry 4.0 and lately 5.0, there are pertinent challenges, right? When we talk about doing the smart manufacturing and all, and expectations from the IT services, particularly in solving the AI/ML problems, right? There are a lot of use cases, what we see. If you talk about the chatbots and all those things, which are there to enhance the customer experience, right? When we talk about manufacturing, sales and operations. So those things are there. But when we talk about the core manufacturing, right, and the use cases around that, so there we can see a lot of challenges coming from the industry to understand those particular use cases, how they have to develop the AI models, and the security around that also, like the way Faizul mentioned. So the security is something which is a big concern. When we talk about security, it is security for AI and AI for security, both ways. So how we are leveraging the AI related stuffs in overall SecOps, that we will be discussing in detail. And the second thing is for the AI models, how we are protecting them. So those all things they have to take care of and cognizance about that, and accordingly develop the models tuned to the requirements of the industry specific requirements.
Okay, great. So I think that, yeah.
So maybe I can add to Baidyanath. One of the major shift what we find in market is that till now IT industry, the IT service industry was that growing linearly. That how much of efforts, how much of resources you are putting into, and then that would transform into the revenue model. But the shift now it is not based on the shift demanded from the market is instead of input model, whatever you are investing, it's no more relevant now. It is output model. That what exactly you are getting out of this. For an example, now the agentic AI or other stuff, what exactly it is doing is making these things quite simpler. Second, also the manpower and the money will not matter much, as we can witness with ChatGPT and DeepSeek. Even with the less resources, less money, less efforts, you would be able to get output even much better in that output terms. So this is that basic shift what we are witnessing in market. It is no more input model, no more linear growth. Rather, what value addition one is doing, that will matter. How beautifully one is coming up with software, and
So,
that will matter.
So, one of the things that is happening is that there is, of course, a lot of money flowing into startups, right? And when we talk about LLMs and when we talk about sort of domain-focused, again, large language models, that's where, India is sort of behind the curve, it seems, because of the fact that compute is a challenge for us to get here in India. Let me, Baidyanath, come to you for this question. You're focused on manufacturing and you were talking about that. Is it the right strategy or the right approach to look at it where we should be investing in developing, even if not LLMs, but small language models? Or is the application layer more critical and that is where the focus should be?
So it is very pertinent question. And if you see, particularly when we are talking about manufacturing, so application development is not the topmost priority.
Right.
That we have to understand. Applications and IT operations and cyber security also, that is something which is going to be a business enabler. Okay, so top focus is there around the manufacturing excellence, how we are doing the AI ML projects which are going to deliver the business outcomes. For example, in terms of coal consumption rate, I'm just giving you a practical example. So how the AI ML models are trained so that those clinkers and those pyro sections are getting that low throughput in terms of coal consumption, and AI models are getting trained to derive a process value. For example, what is the overall coal consumption rate in an hour? So if that variation is getting stabilized by AI ML projects, like the partners like Rockwell, Siemens, they are working with us to get that things done. So then that is the business boost, right? But when we are talking about the applications development and all, primarily the shift is towards the low-code, no-code platforms. That adoption is important. So rather than developing the in-house talent to create your own software, so why not to go ahead with those models where we are expecting even the performers or the solution providers to look into those models where they can deliver no-code, low-code platform to adopt in any of the business use cases.
Fair enough. Faizul, you're, of course, with Genpact looking at a lot of different kinds of services, accounting, of course, is one of them. How would you answer that question? Are you also planning on, relying on applications, or is there a plan to invest in building up your own models and agents?
Yeah, I think, see, for us as an organization, I'm not sure how many of you follow, but starting of this year, we released a lot of AI-based solutions. We termed a new, we released out a SaaS, which is solution as a agentic services as a platform to customers. We are heavily doing a lot of application investment into using the general purpose OpenAI things, but also building our own small language models, as you highlighted. We have a lot of domain expertise in various industry areas like finances, healthcare. We do a lot of things with manufacturing customers as well. So in each of these areas and alongside supply chain, I must say that. So we are currently we're building a service stack for financial organizations where account payable, account receivable is our first target. So we're changing the way we used to do account payable and account receivable for customers. We're going to use agentic solutions as agentic models. So they're going to transform fast delivery of those invoicing, processing, limitations in kind of reducing the complexities that the businesses had previously, and we are going to deliver a lot of value there.
And so the team is focused on sort of building AI along the way throughout the process flow.
Yes, it's a pipeline. So we use general purpose AI and we build on top of it domain expertise with small language models. So we merge them together. So whatever we use from an OpenAI, we translate that into our in-house capabilities with those small language models, and both of them work together to give us outcomes.
Interesting. Niraj, you of course with Sinch are CPaaS platform, I follow marketing closely, and so what I wanted to come to you is I think marketing has been one of the areas which is very output driven, where everybody is kind of trying their versions of ChatGPT and Claude and whatnot. What is the right playbook when it comes to trying to create AI enablement within the organization and for your customers?
Sure. So let me a bit focus on CPaaS and how exactly we are doing, and then how normally one should. So we are a CPaaS company, and if I simplify CPaaS, it is that communication platform aggregator. That means the SMS, WhatsApp, RCS, voice, email, and we are a global leader. And it's high likely, whatever SMS, what you are getting in your mobile, it is sent by us only. It might appear that bank is sending you that SMS, but ultimately they send to us, and then we aggregate, and then we send it to the last customer. If I look at how we did it for our products, or how we are doing for our product, like we have for WhatsApp, we provide many businesses chatbot solution. We have been providing since long. Now we did an analysis, gone deeper, and then did this all business cases analysis, and then we come up with the solution like within it is no more chatbot, but it is AI-enabled chatbot. What does it mean? That if somebody has, if my customer, like suppose there is a SMB customer who has some 20, 30 products, and he has to market that product, promote that product, and some offer is there, what he can do, in the chatbot itself, he can define that, create a poster with this much of discount, with this picture, and this so on. It will create then itself, and from there he can send it, send it to his customers instantaneously. What it did is it saved a lot of time in preparing that poster, creating marketing plan, sending that communication. So it is ultimately it is adding value to customer. When I come to playbook, same step that we have to divide this thing into 3 steps. One, the first step has to be that the strategy and planning. The second phase has to be development and training. And third step has to be in deployment and that fine-tuning that one. Okay, the strategy and planning is quite important. And there one has to analyze his own business and see what all are the relevant area, make sure that it is feasible for them or not. And then one has to make or buy decision. It's very important because what is happening in the industry that that every organization is feeling some kind of FOMO, fear of missing out in this race of AI. It's not necessary that you start your own. It could be relevant that you try out the solution what is already available in market, like Infosys has come up with some platform which can integrate with multiple verticals, multiple domains. So that first phase of planning is quite important and define that what all are the area and what all are the priority. Then going into the second stage, if one chooses to develop in-house, that development, POC work has to complete, then that development and then training part has to complete, and then it has a lot of roles that starting from data synthesizing to the final output. And third phase is the deployment for that customer. There again, one has to be very cautious. Instead of going big bang, one has to go in phased manner, with is introduced with a small group, and gradually taking it to the maturity by multiple iterations. So that's how every that organization should follow. It could vary that there could be some that domain-specific playbooks, and which is very specific to solve some, like banking, the objectives are completely different compared to manufacturing. So based on the domain where that organization is, they have to define their own playbook, considering the core stages, considering core stages.
Got it. No, very interesting points. And I think some food for thought for everyone. Let me come to the data part, and I think that is, of course, a very crucial aspect of ensuring that, hallucinations go down and that AI is able to understand, what is the kind of output one wants. Baidyanath, data, of course, has been a challenge for not just India as a whole, but specifically for companies also. And even in the best case situations, even if you have organized data, what is the right approach to now, starting to capture and make sense of data when it comes to AI?
So, yeah, Dhaval, when we are talking about when AI-driven services, it is very important to understand the role of data, what it plays in terms of AI, ML, and all those analytics. So in manufacturing context, if you see, what we have to understand that the data coming out from manufacturing operations, core, you can say the SCADA and DCS systems, those are very important, and how they need to be integrated. Then only you will be getting the meaningful or insightful decisions, where you can do some sort of process optimization, predictive analysis, and accordingly you can gauge into the future. So what are the next step to enhance the business models? So when we are talking about these things, we have to understand that the data quality and is something which is very important, and that's why you have to come with a data warehousing model where like the solutions like Snowflake, that is something is very important, and how you are going to gather the data from different set of your sources, like you have a CRM in place, you have logistics solution in place, you have your core ERP in place, but are they connected together? So that's the challenge. So once you have these problems sorted out, because that needs tightly coupled security integrations also, because that's the biggest challenge, what we talk in the context of manufacturing. And if you see other sectors also, they have their own pertinent challenges.
Is there a specific way that you've had to process or structure your data from an AI point of view? If yes, I think love to understand that.
So coming to that only. So first of all, we have to create a secure layer where we can integrate all these isolated touch points, right? Be it the CRM or logistics operations or your core ERP. Then once that is getting connected, how we are doing the preventive or predictive analysis by putting it in a data warehouse. So those things are very important, and the way we have developed our models. So first of all, we have created a layer where these all are integrated without any security challenges. So we need to understand, since a decade, we are investing into security solutions or augmenting the solutions. Then also there is a 4% increase in breach rate, right? If you see the average cost of data breach, it's increasing 4% year by year. And that's very strange to understand.
Scary.
Because every organization, if you talk about, they are investing into the security solutions. They are augmenting their security solutions. But where we are missing, because attackers are using AI in much better way than the organizations. We have to think beyond that, where the capability has to be evolved in our security operations, so that we can look into AI-driven SOC. And when we talk about the cybersecurity operations, it is not GenAI. Here we have to talk about the precision AI, and that's why the data quality, the value mentioned, that is very important, and data plays a very important role. If the data driven decisions is done on the poor quality of data, then the prediction itself is going to be wrong.
Right.
Completely.
Right. And Faizul, also, I think you've worked on this a lot, and you're also working with clients all over the world. Data, since we're not building LLMs, right? And there is a certain dependency on AI. The data protection, how is that going to, how is that you've solved for?
So yeah, I'll just add to what Baidyanath mentioned. But from our perspective, see, we are looking at two themes basically for our organization. One is building the use of data inside the services that we are running with AI models, right? So we're talking about data governance on top of it. I'll take an example of what I quoted earlier, which is account payable and account receivable, right? So for example, earlier in the primitive, old ways of working, we used to look at invoices, humanly look at them, find out if there were errors in invoicing, and then reject them or send them for payments. Now, the same thing is being done by the LLMs, right? So the efficacy of how efficiently the model is reading through the invoices, ensuring there is less of errors, which means the data is kind of trained on good invoicing models. And then we have outcomes for that to take decisions. So we have governance, we have transparency, and also we have accuracy on top of it. So that's what we're building in that pipeline of account payable. The other theme I wanted to also highlight is how we consume AI, which Baidyanath briefly also highlighted. I think the other stream for us as services organization is we leverage a lot of AI today for our internal purposes also. So for that matter, we ensure that we are letting the AI governance policies inside the organization, corporate level, and also with customers, have that well enforced. Second, we do a lot of awareness programs. And third piece, for our services, we do data segmentation. Because we service a lot of customers, I think this is a big aspect that all of us need to understand. We can't let the data to be merged between clients. So every client is different for us. We do data segmentation. We used to talk about a lot of network segmentation and everything. Today, we are focused to drive multiple services with multiple clients, and their data set is different. Account payable for a customer A is different from account payable for a customer B. So we've ensured we do tenancies, multi-tenancies, and shared models without making the data to flow between the two data pipelines. I think that's a big aspect that we're driving today. And we do complete governance, regular checks on that with our development teams and engineering teams.
Got it. Okay, one of the important part to enable the private sector to successfully leverage AI is, of course, a government support and regulation, right? So would love, a short sort of answer from each of you on, if there's one thing that you'd want support on regulation from, what would that be? Perhaps, Niraj, you can take that first.
So, very good question, in fact. Regulation is one of the major concerns in AI industry as of now, because we know that, like ChatGPT, it scanned almost complete internet. Now, with the consent, or whether it is violating the privacy or not, that is again to be judged. So we have to have regulation, but what I see is that as a general census, like in the last Paris summit, the outcome of that summit is that people don't want to regulate much. That is a challenge, in fact, because they want to make use of the innovation, what is happening in AI. that gives a bigger responsibility on our soldiers that, okay, we have to frame our, maybe based on some guidelines like EU has, we have to frame our security guidelines, we have to frame our compliance guidelines, ethical guidelines, and we have to adhere with that. But surely, today or tomorrow, government will have to come up with some kind of regulation in this industry. Otherwise, the deep fakes and other biases are playing a big role.
Yeah. Faizul?
Yeah, I just like to add that I think there has to be a two-pronged approach. One is centralized government level regulations coming out, obviously with focus on innovation and enablement of AI expansion and kind of use of compute and everything, which means a lot of technology enforcement. And I think we've already seen in the budget this year as well, a lot of dollars, money has been put there. The second is every organization has to also focus on their regulations. I think we have responsibilities to make sure that we drive policies inside our enterprises in a way that is regulated, that is governed, that is secured, and that is driven for customer outcomes and user experience, right? I think that's the way I would. So it should be decentralized and centralized based on how we make services.
Got it.
Yeah, I would like to add what Niraj and Faizul mentioned. So particularly if you ask me what government should do, because already there are a lot of initiatives, and if I'm not wrong, $1.25 billion investment is already there by the government to let the roadmap for 2 to 3 years, right, in the AI space. But if you talk about cybersecurity primarily, being a CISO, I would love to see the Indian startups being funded by the government in their R&D models. Because if you see the way AI has developed and adversaries are using them, AI-powered SOC is the right set of choice for the customers, but the cost of the solution offered by the global players is too high. That is not getting adopted by most of the organizations, and that's why they are getting breached also. So my recommendation or my suggestion to the government is to fund their R&D setups so that they can create more good solutions.
By the way, I think that's an excellent point, and to that, the budget that they have allocated for AI, they received 68 applications which have been accepted, and I think 25 are for foundational models, startups and foundational models. So that's very encouraging, and that's, I think, a decent start. But yeah, I think we need to catch up, so we need to do a lot more. All right, can I take a couple of questions? Okay, all right. I'm sure there are a lot. In fact, I had more questions, but since time is up, yeah, if we can have a mic in the audience, please. And we will be talking, of course, after the panel. I think the panelists will be available. So, if you have specific questions from panelists, we can, yeah, here. Yeah, if you can just introduce yourself and the question, please.
Okay, my name is Abhijit. I'm from Abhi Technologies. My question is, we're talking about AI. Can you just tell me, each of you, how AI is vulnerable? Because when long back when we started computer, virus come, and then gradually we are on cloud computing and all, and then ransomware came.
So you mean in terms of the vulnerability?
How vulnerable is AI?
In terms of an organization's data or users' data?
In terms of, mix.
Okay. Faizul, Baidyanath?
Yeah, I think we highlighted that in a bit, but let me put the context. So we're talking about AI models, right? We're talking about infrastructure that is there. So there is vulnerability on that layer, which is supposed to be protected by enterprises. The second layer is data. You have data that is being trained within AI models. So if there is, so we call that as, let's say, poison attack to an LLM. If the data that is being trained, or the LLM that is being trained on a data set which is not accurate, so the outcomes will not be appropriate, and those will be kind of hallucinated, as what Dhaval earlier highlighted. So that's second. The third piece to this is how this, LLMs are being written down, right? You always have capabilities that you can manipulate the LLMs to have different outcomes again. So not just data sets, but also LLMs that are being written, the models that we write. What do we want to get as an outcome? Attackers today are changing that. They're changing the behavior, how your LLMs are working, which means the outcome will be obviously malicious and kind of causing breaches.
Yeah, quickly wanted to add what Faizul mentioned. So apart from these, even there are prompt injection attacks also. So those things are very important to understand because we are talking here about security for AI, not AI for security. So in that case, the AI models need to be protected completely, and there are a lot of OEMs, they are working towards the solution which is taking care of the AI models, how you have to protect your AI models from any sort of prompt injection attacks or poisoning attacks. And if you are talking to open source LLM also for your purpose, then also you have to understand that if you are not interacting to the correct source or not. So those all important security considerations have to be there. And with the AI models, there are a lot of security challenges that need to be factored.
Right. And I probably just want to add that, I think this is going to evolve very, very rapidly. So, there's much more to be followed in this space. Okay, I'm out of time. I know
last question ले सकते हैं तो मैं question
quick question.
It's a very quick questions. Thank to panel.
Please
They
tell
are
us.
young and very knowledgeable person, but I have a queries.
Yeah,
मेरा
yeah.
नाम वीरेंद्र कुमार पाठक है. मैं गवर्नमेंट से हूँ और लास्ट 30 ईयर से मेरी जर्नी इसमें ही डिजिटल में ही है. मैंने अभी टेक
Sir,
किया.
आपका question.
मेरा क्वेश्चन सिर्फ ये है, क्या इंडिया के अंदर एआई एंड एमएल मॉडल मैच्योर हो चुका है या नहीं? दूसरा क्वेश्चन मेरा ये है, अगर एआई डेटा पे ही चलती है, डेटा प्रोसेस पे ही चलती है जैसा कि गूगल के अंदर है, तो क्या हम उसको सच माने? क्योंकि जो फ्रॉड है, जो साइबर सिक्योरिटी चैलेंजेस हैं इतने ज़्यादा हैं, क्या इसमें हम एआई मॉडल को ही ना इस्तेमाल करें जिससे कि कम से कम गवर्नमेंट का डेटा तो सिक्योर हो जाए, चाहे वो एआई इस्तेमाल करें चाहे कोई कुछ करें. धन्यवाद.
Okay, so in terms of maturity, I would say that we are at early stage. How it is indicated, in fact, if you look at the IT sector market in India, it is around $263 billion market is there. Whereas the AI-related revenue generated is around $7 to $8 billion, and it is growing at good pace. It will come up, by 2027, it will come up around 17, 18 billion. So that means we are adopting to AI, but we are quite early. We are even not making 2-3% of the overall revenue in AI. By 2030, it is going to be quite huge. It would be 30-40% of the revenue which will come through that AI or AI-related products. So we are early in maturity, but we are catching up quite quickly. We are not developing LLM, but we are developing that small language model, that purpose-specific need, particularly focused on India-specific problem solving. Second question was
Yeah, no, the second question primarily, if I understood correctly, was about how we can protect against, cyber attackers using AI with data, right? If that is right, sir, so what I would say is, see, it's always a fight, and we always, as cybersecurity professionals, have seen attackers are a couple of steps ahead of us. The reason for that is there's not a consolidated way of how we manage our data. Our data governance is a big problem. If I go and if anybody wants to search my name, Faizul, and I will have pictures around, they will use that, they'll misuse that, right? That's why we see a lot of these deepfake videos coming out, voices coming out, modulations happening. So it's all about how we can individually and at organization levels and at the country level manage our data and privacy regulations properly. And then we let attackers not misuse that data to an extent. And let the solutions that are there, the OEMs that are there, providing solutions to government, to enterprises, help us prevent some of those attacks.
Just quickly want to add to conclude. So when you are, if I have understood your question correctly, you are more concerned about the AI, like the way you use our home instruments as well, like you talked about the Google and also something where we have to focus all as a in individual capacity is very important to understand the privacy settings. So whatever the platforms or applications what we use, for example, smart TV to connected systems or IoTs, we have to understand where we can tweak around the privacy settings to our interest. That's very important to control. Whether you talk about the WhatsApp and all, they have come with a lot of useful features where you can control your privacy, how you want to protect yourself from the fraud calls and all. There are a couple of features known as silence unknown callers, the complete privacy control where you can manage your settings so that you are protected from the cyber frauds. That's
right. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank Baidyanath, Faizul, and Niraj for giving us a lot of food for thought, and I think setting the tone for the day. I'm sure that we'll be talking about a lot of these things as the day progresses. Lot more to unpack, including manpower and how that problem is going to get solved. But thank you so much for taking the time.